Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 321 of our Let's Grow annual challenge. Today we are continuing with our lessons learned, things we should all be applying to our lives, in my humble opinion, in order to create the life that we want and to grow as a person in all the different areas and aspects of our life. And today's No Nonsense November, number 16, is creating or having and living by a financial wellness plan. Do you have a financial wellness plan? If not, I recommend the tool YNAB. It's You Need a Budget, and it's based on the envelope system by Jesse Meacham, and his system of having different envelopes for different types of expenses and things, and different envelopes that give money, each of your dollars, a job. So you know where all your money's coming from and you know where it's all going. And then it's built on things like, well, it follows 4 financial rules. Number 1, every dollar has a job. It's there for a reason. You assign a reason to each dollar that comes into your life. And then secondly, you embrace your true expenses. You separate and analyze all of your expenses, fixed, variable, and then some type of a savings goals or emergency plan in case life happens. Because I guarantee you life's going to happen, and things that you had never imagined will happen that cause you to require financial resources. Third rule is roll with the punches. When life changes, adjust your plan, knowing that you created a plan as a launching off starting point. It's not set in stone, except some things should be set in stone, our commitment to our long-term goals, etc. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have blips along the way that cause us to change how we're moving toward that plan and how fast we're moving toward it. And then age your money. And what age your money means is have it so that you're not living paycheck to paycheck. And we do that in certain ways. Number 1, we make sure that we have a budget and that we manage our expenses. We at least know what our expenses are. Has anyone ever turned a blind eye to expenses that they know they're incurring, but they just don't want to face up to? Yeah, any of us who have ever had credit card debt look at that sometimes and are like, oh my God, how am I ever going to pay this off? And so there's a strategy for that, of course. So how do you develop a financial wellness plan if you don't want to use the YNAB one? Guess what? You can Google it. You can web search it. You can go on the internet. You can look for a coach or a mentor. There are so many financial planners, and actually financial advisors and financial planners will help you to set up the things and the structures that you need if you've never done it before, if you've never even thought about it before. I'll never forget, I went to my last job in corporate America, went to work for a company and a big company. We're talking $100 million privately held company at the time, which grew exponentially from then. But at the time, they didn't do budgets. They did not have budgets for anything or any of their departments. And so it was mind-boggling to me. And one of my first initiatives there was to help each department in the organization create and start understanding the power of and using their budget as a tool to grow their department and make sure they were interacting appropriately with the other departments, etc. But they'd been around for, I don't remember how many years, but generations, and had no budgeting. So the first thing we want to do is have a budget, manage our expenses. And the first step to managing our expenses is knowing what the heck they are. And then separating them by fixed, things that are going to be the same every single month, no matter what. If you've got a house and a mortgage and taxes, that's going to be the same every month if you've financed that. And so that's one of your expenses. Food, on the other hand, is a variable expense because we don't eat the same amount of food every month. We don't spend the same amount of money in these inflationary times. We're spending a whole lot more money on food than we were a few years back. But that's a variable cost. And then goals and things that we want to start achieving, we want to start budgeting and setting aside funds for that as well. We want to build an emergency fund. I don't know about you, but in my life, there have been a whole lot of hits that impacted decisions and choices that I had to make because I didn't have the proper emergency funds set up initially. Guess what? I learned that lesson pretty quickly. Now we always have emergency funds available. Eliminating debt, and I'll talk about a way to do that if you haven't figured out a strategy to do that, but we have to have a strategy for eliminating bad debt. Now, I like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, separate debt into good and bad, because debt that is for an investment that's appreciating and adding cash flow to our life, To me, that's not bad debt. That's investment. So that's a good debt. But credit card debt, debt that just is costing us money on our money spent every single month, year in and year out, I consider that bad debt because uh, we've been led to believe that we can get out from under that, but a lot of times we can't. We get to the point where, especially if we're working a job and we don't have any other sources of income, there's more expenses at the end of the month than there is money coming in. And that's a position none of us likes to be in ever. So there's something called the snowball effect. And I didn't necessarily believe this. I didn't pay my bills this way when I had, bills that I had to take care of every month. Now it's all automated for me. But back then, I would just pay a little bit on everything every month, or the whole amount off every month, depending on what it was. The electric bill, the gas bill, the cell phone, all those things get paid every month, right? And now they're all on automatic. But things like credit cards and financing, if you're using credit cards to fund and finance your lifestyle or your business, sometimes you didn't have enough money or cash flow to pay those all off at the end of the month. So you're incurring interest charges, which is, to me, it's like loan sharks, using loan sharks, but because people get behind on that and they can't seem to ever catch up unless they find a way to have an additional source of income. But one way to deal with and tackle with that type of debt is to take it's called the snowball effect. You pay off your you list all of your debts, lowest amount to highest amount, and you just start at the top of that list, paying those off as you can as part of your budget and your expenses and your dollars jobs every single month. And you pay the cheapest one off first. Maybe it'll take you, maybe your cheapest one is $10,000 and you only have an extra $1,000 a month. It's going to take you 10 months to pay that one off, but then that one's off your list. And then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one, because you're getting little wins by tackling some of those along the way, which motivates you and me, definitely motivates me, to continue to find ways to pay those off and get rid of those altogether. That's actually how I got rid of all my personal debt in the past. And I think it was probably part of the YNAB, Jesse Meacham's work, but I don't remember at this point. It's been so long ago now. So what are we going to do today? What's our action item? Ask yourself the question, do I have a financial wellness plan? And if the answer is no, I'm winging it, take a look at the YNAB tool or pick another tool and at least start listing out all of your expenses, what you spend money on every single month. And if you don't know, keep a log for the next week. A week will give you a big picture snapshot of what you normally do. But if that doesn't give you a good enough picture, I challenge you to track all of your expenses for 1 month and see what they are, then categorize them into fixed, variable, and then for the future type expenses or investment expense. I like to call it investment expenses, and just take a look at that list. That's the first step of creating your own financial wellness plan. All right, love to know how you're doing on this. Hit me up, share in the comments below if you have any questions. I've helped a lot of people do this. I'm not a financial planner, don't play one on TV, not a lawyer, not a doctor, not anything. Just a human being that realizes some things we have to figure out for ourselves, and this is one of them. Nobody's going to figure it out for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to live it and make the decisions and choices for you. So take back that personal power and let's make financial wellness and financial well-being a part of our life's journey and plan. And then automate it so it's simple, so we don't have to think about and worry about it anymore. That's what I continue to do. It's an area of continuous improvement on both a personal and professional level. All right, any questions asked? Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.